Welcome back. I'm reading from No Naked Walls, which is the triptych of So You Want to Own an Art Gallery? Where's Your Gallery Now? And coming up will be Now You're the Artist, Deal With It. This is called No Naked Walls, available on Amazon. And this is chapter 34, which is Yellow Ochre. There's a debate that contrasts yellow ochre with raw sienna. Actually, it's more or less the same colour in oils, but one is opaque in watercolours, assuming you care to know that. Anyway, Venice as an artist's playground has a lot of washed out colours, and yellow ochre figures to a great extent. Or should that be raw sienna? Victor wants his Venetian show in October. And of course October is when Belinda's planning on leaving the gallery. Time to look for a new member of staff. It dawns on me that I've actually got no more than 6 weeks to find someone new. Belinda, pardon me for asking, but when exactly in October are you going? Belinda looks at me and bursts into tears. I don't want to talk about it now. Well, that's all well and good, but I really need to know. We've got Victor's exhibition coming up and you've been brilliant and I'm beside myself and I really need to know if it's the beginning or the end. It's neither. I've changed my mind. They cancelled the course and I don't want to go, and I thought you meant you were pleased you were getting rid of me. Are you kidding? Women. Oh, that's great news. I mean, I'm really sorry it hasn't worked out for you. I want you to stay. Would a pay rise cheer you up? I can't begin to tell her how relieved I am. Joyous, in fact. Even if none of us is actually indispensable, great members of staff do make your life so much easier. I'm deeply relieved by Belinda's news. Well then, I'm putting you in charge of the show, the whole shebang. So that's it. Start now. Catalogue by the weekend, please, and you choose which image we use for the theme. The subject is closed. Belinda appears as relieved as I am. That's retail, my dears. It's just like relationships. It's all about communication. The phone rings. It's Victor. My dear chap, do you need an extra member of staff? My niece Abigail needs a month's work placement as part of her university degree. Wouldn't it be fun if she could just help at my show? He's either weirdly tuning in to my operating frequency, or it's the most useful of coincidences. Victor, old boy, tell her to give me a ring. Belinda's going to look after all the exhibition details, and I dare say she'd enjoy having a personal assistant. I put the phone down. There's 2 elderly ladies, very smartly dressed, and what you might call proper, stroll into the gallery. Good morning, ladies. May we offer you a cup of tea or coffee? Are you the young man that owns this establishment? I believe that I do. Good. My name's Woodridge. This is Emily. She's my sister and a wonderful artist. I believe you should inspect her work. How do you do, Emily? Emily quietly shakes my hand. There's an air of mischief in her deep blue eyes. I have some photographs here in my handbag if you'd like to see some. With pleasure, I say. What I see is unexpected. The photos depict bold landscapes, quite naive but full of energy. They're simply divine. I fall in love with the quality of the colours. If you don't mind me saying, these are brilliant. I love them. Emily blushes. You won't mess me around, will you? My last boyfriend was an incorrigible flirt and it upset me so. Emily, I never mix business and pleasure unless it involves a glass of wine or two. Can I offer you both a drink? Do you have a Cinzano? The older Miss Woodridge pipes up. We might indeed, at the back of our fridge. Charlie picks up on the hint straight away and nips out to buy a bottle. She returns quickly and steps out from the kitchen with 2 iced drinks of the requested tipple. Always ready to please, hey? Not difficult to achieve, given a local wine shop 3 doors from the gallery. A godsend. We all clink glasses and formality merrily melts away. We sort out a date for me to visit Emily's studio, and as they stand to leave, Emily's sister leans into me and says, Young man, do you think you might manage to play something a little more classical in your gallery next time we visit? Grateful Dead or Glenn Miller, I say. Schubert would do nicely. With that, they leave without another word, Emily towed by her sergeant major of a sister. Well, how about that then? Aren't they sweet? I'd kill for that Art Deco brooch Emily was wearing, says Belinda. I love being surprised in a nice way, you know, and more times than most it's the older artists that are full of them. However, there's one drawback. Although young at heart, they're an ageing collection of wonderful characters, and the inevitable is bound to happen sooner or later. We can't play God, though. And serious art buyers are only too aware of the fact and always seem to want to know how old the artist is. Maybe I shall put a sign that says born and expected to die dates on the labels. Greed, you see. I don't like it. I remember lending a painting to a couple who were umming and ahhing about a particular piece. I said to hang it on their walls over the weekend and see if it suited. No obligation. Unfortunately, on the Sunday afternoon I had a phone call from the artist's wife to say that he died. And she wanted all the available work back, obviously expecting an explosion in the market value. I've seen debatable whether the piece I'd lent was available or not. I suppose it was, but on the Monday morning I rang the couple to see if they had decided to keep or return the painting. Luckily for them, they did want it, and they agreed to pay for it by credit card there and then. Only then because they loved the painting, not the prospect of monetary gain. And because of that, I only told them after they bought it that the artist had died the day before. Meanwhile, back in Pleasantville, Charlie sits down beside me at the desk. I've been thinking. You were so nice to those ladies. In fact, you're really such a sweetie. I think we'd make a great pair. You're kind and gentle, and I've had enough of liaisons. I want to settle down and be naughty with one person for a long time. What do you say? My jaw drops. Charlie, are you serious? You must want something. What do you want? No, really, you're just my type and... I cut her off. No, Charlie, your types are males. Tall, short, not so tall. You crack me up. I'm chatting you up here and you don't believe me. I'm flattered, but I shall have to let you down. God, you're so good with older women. I thought maybe we... Heavens, love. You're only a month or two older than me, and I feel like I'm entering my prime. Sorry to disappoint you. Well, it was worth it. You should at least let me show you what you're missing. A more determined salesperson I have never met. Well, what are you going to do when you're older, eh? She's always had a way of making me think. I want to be an outrageous, bohemian artist. Well, boy, a little practice wouldn't go amiss then, would it? Belinda is oblivious to what's going on. Her head is stuck in the Venetian show, bless her. But thankfully she's physically present in the gallery, and I'm saved. How's it going, Belinda? I call out. She doesn't answer. Then I notice she's got small headphones in her ears. I walk over and move the headphones and ask again. Pink Floyd, she says. It helps me think. Wish you were here. It's my favourite. Well, at least she's got taste in music. Charlie's up to something. I can feel it in my bones. Don't tell her she's after you again. She's always says she's going to get you one day. I don't know what to say. Apparently there is one rule for the boss and the 100 that can be broken by the staff. Sometimes I think I'm the outsider here in this retail world. Maybe being an artist would be an easier life. Not so much guesswork. Charlie's full of smiles as she slinks up to me. Cup of tea? What's the time? 3 o'clock. Wine o'clock, methinks. Glass of red then, please. Memo to self. Maybe I should drink a little less. A small one, not a flagon. In truth, I know now I have a problem with the permanently frisky members of staff. I'm out of my depth. Best is to ignore it. I love Venice. It's such a romantic city, isn't it? Charlie's trying a different tack. Well, you can dream about it when the show's on and work your magic helping Belinda sell them to the customers. Excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Well, that's the easy bit. Is Victor available? Says Charlie. I smile, thinking of Victor being attacked by Charlie. Phew, I'm reprieved. Over to you, Victor. She's all yours, dear friend. Now there's a thought. What's so funny? Says Charlie. Nothing at all. I just begin to feel much better. I think the paintings are too cheap. They're magnificent and they should be loads more expensive, suggests Belinda. Well, put that to Victor and let's see what he says. I must say I agree with you. She's completely right and rising to the challenge. Really? That's so cool. Thank you, says Belinda. She rings Victor, who agrees without any hesitation, and we more or less double the prices. Well, here's hoping they sell anyway. Another phone call, this time from the framer. All the works are ready to collect, but for one slight problem. The framer himself has broken his ankle, slipping on the stairs at home and can't drive. Can we collect them? A tall, slender, well-groomed girl walks up to the desk as I'm hanging up. Hi, I'm Abby, Victor's niece. Ah, yes, we've been expecting a call from you. Your uncle said you might like to come and do some work experience in the gallery. Well, I forgot to ring, but I did have a look on your website, and I can start as soon as whenever you like. That's okay, isn't it? How can one refuse? Right, first things first. Come with me. We're off to collect your uncle's work. We hail a taxi, and Abigail's work experience formally begins. 20 minutes later, at the workshop, I ask the driver to wait outside his cab, and we pass through the battered red door. We don't need to ring the old brass bell or the counter. Bill the framer is sitting there in a wheelchair looking stressed. Bloody stupid cat, sitting there in a wheelchair. Ah, went right between my legs. 6 weeks I got to be in this ruddy cast. Shall I sign it for you? I won't repeat his expletives. I introduce Abigail. This is Victor's niece. You've just framed his show. He sheepishly apologises for his outburst. Abigail nods. I've heard worse. Mate has dropped the vase on her foot once. It was rather expensive and it rolled onto the tile floor and shattered. Her language was far worse, trust me. I like this girl. Her initial air of innocence camouflages the woman in waiting. All the paintings are bubble wrapped and thankfully numbered, making it easier to identify when hanging and labelling. But then, dear reader, you know this already, don't you? It's a tight squeeze getting them all and the two of us into the taxi, but we manage it. Abigail's a natural packer. Experience lesson 1 completed. Score 10 out of 10. Lesson 2 is about unpacking. Unwrapping and arranging paintings in an orderly fashion without losing sight of the allocated numbering. The static from the bubble wrap plays havoc with Abigail's long hair, which is flying away and standing on end. Belinda comes to the rescue with a can of something or other. I think it's called bonding. The display of friendship, that is, not the hairspray. Belinda asked to be allowed to hang the show, and I let her do it with Abigail's help. I find it amusing and rewarding to see how well I've developed her hanging skills and her managerial talents. It's not all plain sailing, though. Belinda is on the 4th rung of the ladder when she utters a cry. Help me, fingers trapped in the cord. Somehow, the picture cord and the hook have attached themselves to her middle finger. Permission to touch. Do excuse me. I lift her by her waist off the ladder, still connected to the painting. I return her to the floor, aware that now she's somewhat heavier than I realised, or that I'm older than I like to remember, and don't want to damage my back. How on earth did you manage to tie yourself up? How on earth did you manage to lift me down? I surprise myself sometimes. I untangle a slightly blue-looking middle finger from the painting. Thankfully, the painting is undamaged. The show's hung by tea time. I angle the lights for maximum effect, because lighting, you know, is so important. It brings out the best of a painting. Please remember this little tip, as so many electricians put stupid picture lights at the wrong height, and the light just doesn't even reach the painting. Just a little moan and a dig, but remember it. Voila! I think we should all have a celebratory drink. How about a nice bottle of Italian red? The paintings have an exquisite glow to them, and you could almost hear the colours rusting with the atmosphere trying to escape from behind the glass. I have a good feeling about this show. I feel it in my stomach. Normally, before an opening, I experience a tension and nervousness, like a growing knot deep down. This time, a serenity is developing. I'm sure it won't last for now, but it's drink o'clock time. Cheers, ladies. The gallery looks great. Here's to all of us. With 2 days to go, we're ready ahead of schedule, and everything's running smoothly. Now all we will need is a happy buying audience. I'm sure I mentioned 2 of my artists in the last book, Peter and Patricia, a husband and wife team. Today they drop in for an unexpected visit. They tend not to leave their respective studios much, so it's a pleasant surprise to see them. Patricia says, I thought you might like a pot of my gooseberry jam. She delves into her enormous black leather bag and follows the package with some helpful advice. Be careful, it tastes as sharp as a kitchen knife. Well, how lovely to see you both, and how did you know gooseberry's my all-time favourite jam? I didn't, ducky. Pot luck, one could say. Peter walks amongst the paintings. I really like these, you know. Very different from what you normally show. Touch of real class with a hint of innocence. Peter's examination is slow and meticulous. Ah, here's a great palette too. In the trade we call this intense scrutiny by the term scanning, and it's often conducted by rival artists before ever introducing themselves to mere mortal gallery owners. They do this. Drinks, my dears. A cup of tea would be lovely, says Patricia. Belinda slips away to put the kettle on. Charlie introduces Abigail. This is the artist's niece, and she's been a great help the last couple of days. And these," she turned to Abigail, "are my favourite artists." I cringe inside, but Abigail's too smart for Charlie's mischief. She's already done her homework in my stockroom. "What a pleasure to meet you, Peter. Variety is such an asset, and I have to agree with Charlie. I'm struck by her boldness. In your oils and the usual use of greens, and Patricia, your hand-sewn pieces. I'll own one day. I'm too used to Uncle Victor's paintings. We grew up with his work everywhere around the house." Peter smiles, clearly enjoying the banter, but Charlie's nose is, for some reason, put out of joint. Game, set and match to Abby. Patricia says, "I think we should have one of these, sweetie. I love the light bouncing off the water." Now this is a real compliment. An artist buying another artist's work in the same gallery they themselves show in? Very reassuring indeed. The magical red dot is placed on the said painting. Sold. "Assume you want it left for the show. We can't make tomorrow evening." "Well, that's all right. I'll drop it off to you afterwards and let you know how I get on with the jam." "How's your own painting coming on? Bet you never get any time. Mind you, I always say, a few minutes a day sketching is the best way forward." I'll bear that in mind when I get a moment. Charlie says under breath, "Yes, a moment's fun would be a great idea. As for sketching, that's something else." Finally, it's Thursday, and Victor plans to arrive early so we can chat about things. What we certainly can't afford is to have a liquid lunch today. He's already late when the phone rings ominously. "Hello, old boy. Spot of bother, I'm afraid. The car's a bit broken. I'll leave it and taxi up to you." I knew it was going too smoothly. "Are you okay?" "Oh, I'm fine. The car isn't." Phone goes dead. Well, at least he's still alive, so I can't put the prices up yet. "You look like you've just seen a ghost," says Belinda. "Just a hiccup, I hope. Artist car demise, artist still alive. Can anything else happen? World war, an earthquake, or something less trivial, perhaps?" Abigail is less calm when she learns of Victor's delay. "What's happened? Is he all right? I'm sure he shouldn't drive. He's positively the worst person to sit behind a steering wheel." Having driven with him myself, I agree with her, but it won't help to say so. He assures me he's fine and he'll be here soon. We have a couple of hours to go, so let's all chill and break all the rules and have a drink. Anyone for a nice cup of tea? That inspires general laughter, and Belinda emerges with a cold bottle of fizz. Oh, and why not? Victor arrives to find us all clutching half-empty fluted glasses, and Charlie immediately places a drink in his hand. "You just might need this," she says. "Oh, thank you. Hello, Abby dear. How's Mama?" It's to be business as usual. The car incident forgotten, and it's on with the show. Victor seems delighted with his exhibition, and even more so once he spots that there's already a sprinkling of little red dots to be seen. "It's rather splendid, don't you think? I took the liberty of asking a few more friends to pop along who already have some of my work. Ah, here they are now." He means the vintage couple straight out of a 1950s movie. She, magnificent fur coat. He, double-breasted, pinstripe suit. Vintage in their 70s, but well preserved. They start to chat with Victor as soon as they're in the door. Let the show begin. Within minutes, the place is a hive of loud conversation, with Victor greeting everyone and introducing guests to each other. Wine is flowing, fizz is bubbling, and even a peppermint tea is produced on demand. Soon to my satisfaction, red dots are flying. Belinda grabs me by the arm. "They're all gone. Every painting gone. It's sold out." At that precise moment, a voice I know only too well says, "Hello, darling. Who's that young thing on your arm?" It's Penelope, and she's not wearing her wedding ring. "Welcome to my gallery. How lovely to see you. This is my senior sales executive, Belinda." Belinda says hello and vanishes into the crowd. What is it with female ESP? I never know. Victor's in his element and taps a spoon against his glass. "I'm delighted you could all make it today. Venice is such a magical place and there's so much going on throughout the day." "And night?" someone calls out from the crowd. There's a titter of approval and Victor actually blushes. "Well now, I've just been told that the show is a complete sellout. Thank you to the gallery for doing a most splendid job of hosting and hanging the show. I believe my niece has been involved in the process as well. Well done, Abigail, dear. I won't embarrass you any further. Thank you, dear friends, for all your support, wine and port over the years, and for coming from far and near. There's only one more thing to say, and that's cheers." He gets the explosion of applause he thoroughly deserves. We shall have to celebrate afterwards, Penelope says. I'm going to mingle, darling. It's hard to say how I feel at this moment, a mixture of happiness, delight, confusion, and relief, all accompanied by a touch of mischievous anticipation for what may happen later on. I reckon this sums up being a gallery owner completely. You just never know what's going to happen next. Thank you.